The doorbell camera showed me standing outside, but I hadn't left the house. I live alone in a small, quiet neighborhood. My street is lined with old maples, their branches scratching against the pavement on windy nights. It's the kind of place where nothing ever happens, or at least that's what I always told myself. It started on a Tuesday evening. I had been binge-watching an old documentary series, the rain tapping a gentle rhythm against my window. Everything felt normal. Then my phone buzzed, a notification from the doorbell camera. I swiped open the app. A figure was on my porch, tall, still, completely blacked out by the shadows. At first I thought it was a delivery. I wasn't expecting anything. But then I noticed the shape. It mirrored my stance, my posture, exactly as I'd been sitting on the couch when the app loaded. I laughed nervously. Creepy coincidence, I muttered, shaking my head. But the unease didn't leave. My pulse quickened, a low pit forming in my stomach. I kept the camera open, my fingers hovering over the phone as if just staring could protect me. I walked around the apartment, checking locks, peering out through blinds. The porch was empty now. Nothing moved. Only the rain, whispering against the window. I tried to convince myself it was just a glitch, some weird reflection or trick of the light. But a feeling, cold, heavy, and insistent, refused to leave my chest. That night I barely slept. Every creak of the floorboards, every tap of rain against the window felt magnified. Shadows in corners seemed to shift when I looked away, subtle movements just beyond the edge of vision, and the porch. I kept imagining that figure would appear again, even though logically I knew it was impossible. The next morning I tried to ignore it. I went about my usual routine, coffee, breakfast, checking emails, but the memory of that shape lingered. I told a friend over the phone, joking about it. They laughed. Probably a reflection, or someone messing with your doorbell app. I wanted to believe that, but deep down, I didn't. The strange occurrences started slowly. A tapping at the window. Footsteps in the hallway when I was certain I was alone. The faint smell of wet earth in the apartment, like someone had walked through mud right inside my living room. Nothing overt, nothing I could point to and prove, but enough to make my stomach twist in knots. By nightfall, the porch figure returned. The camera showed the same silhouette, perfectly still, but closer than before. I froze as it lifted a hand, not to wave, not in greeting, but in a slow, deliberate motion, like it was reaching for me. My fingers shook as I reached for the light switch, but when I turned on the porch lamp, nothing was there. Only the wet, empty concrete glistening in the rain. Sleep became impossible. My dreams were invaded by the same tall, faceless silhouette. I woke drenched in sweat, the outline of a figure standing at the edge of my bed before disappearing when I blinked. I couldn't tell if I was awake or dreaming. The line blurred, and each night became a trial of endurance. I tried friends, family, even strangers for advice. Move, they said. Change your locks, get a new security system. I did all of it, yet it persisted. The figure didn't care about walls, doors, or technology. It didn't care about logic or reason. It only watched and waited, and then it started appearing in mirrors. At first I thought it was a trick of reflection, the shadows of my apartment twisting oddly. But one morning I saw it clearly, behind me in the bathroom mirror, its hollow, dark eyes boring into my back. When I spun around, nothing. Only the faint smell of wet earth and the lingering feeling of being touched by unseen hands. I started recording everything, every buzz of the doorbell, every flicker of the security app. Sometimes the figure appeared when the camera wasn't even on. Sometimes I could see it in reflections, the window of the TV, the polished kitchen counter, always watching, always mimicking. It escalated further. One night, I awoke to the sound of breathing in my apartment, not my own, slow, deliberate, and wet, like someone had just come in from the rain. My heart thundered. I grabbed a flashlight, swinging it around. The beam landed on the living room mirror. It was standing there just beyond the glass, tall and impossibly still, and then it raised a hand, a slow, deliberate wave, exactly like mine. I couldn't move. My limbs refused to obey. The figure began to step closer, though when I looked away, it was gone. The silence of the apartment pressed against me, broken only by the wet, dragging sound of footsteps that weren't mine. I knew then it wasn't going to stop. It was inside my home now, not a visitor, not a reflection. Something far worse. It knew my routines, my fears, my every movement. It didn't need to knock. It didn't need to announce itself. It simply existed, and I could never escape it. Weeks passed. I barely left the apartment. Every doorway, every shadow, every flicker of light was a potential portal. The porch figure, the mirror figure, they multiplied in my mind. I saw hands reaching from under the bed, shapes in the corner of the hallway, and glimpses of faces I didn't recognize, yet somehow familiar. My phone became a tool of terror rather than safety. Every notification was a potential warning, every alert a heartbeat closer to madness. One night, the worst happened. I awoke to my own reflection waving at me from the window. I wasn't outside. I was lying in bed, and yet there it was, standing on the balcony of my apartment, staring directly into my eyes, waving with my own hand. I tried to run. I tried to scream. Nothing worked. Every exit led me back to the same space. Every reflection trapped me in the same room. And when I finally dared to blink, the figure was inside the room, standing inches from me, smiling that impossible hollow smile. I don't know how long I've been here. Days, weeks, months. Time is meaningless now. The figure is patient. It doesn't need me to fight. It simply waits. It has learned every fear, every habit, every heartbeat, and I know deep down it has been me all along, the reflection, the silhouette, the watcher. I write this now because I have to warn someone. If your doorbell camera shows you standing outside, don't answer, don't move, and whatever you do, don't look in the mirror. It's waiting.